Hugsy and I here at Marc of Horror, and we just finished covering a bunch of Halloween-related materials. But I didn't really touch on any personal note, because Halloween was one of the very first films to terrify me. I've been scared by four films I find very frightening in my entire life, three of which were when I was a teenager growing up, and then I became jaded, and then one later film scared me. The first film that scared me was John Carpenter's Halloween, which my mother's boyfriend took us to go see. I was 14 years old when it came into theaters, and it scared the pants off me. I absolutely loved it, and I became a John Carpenter fanatic from that day forward. I loved every film that he made, and even when he went into decline, I still went to go see all his films and enjoyed most of them, even if they weren't the masterpieces that he used to put out regularly. For those who want to know, the second was when I snuck into the theater with my best friend John to go see Alien, and that was when I was 15. And of course, I've been a lifelong devotee of Alien. Viola here wants to say hello. And the third film that scared me was Night of the Living Dead. Because of the copyright issue, it was shown regularly on television. But because of the content, it wasn't shown until after midnight, and it was shown on independent stations. So I would stay up and watch Night of the Living Dead or the other horror films that would be on late at night and not wake my mom up. So I would be sitting right in front of the television set in the living room with the volume as low as I could hear it and would watch these films, and Night of the Living Dead was one of these films. And again, it scared the pants off me. I'm sitting in the dark, being as quiet as possible, and I can hear every sound in the house. And it was just awful. The only film to really scare me as an adult, though, was Neil Marshall's The Descent. And that is just utterly claustrophobic, and is a wonderful film that we will talk about at some late point. But I wanted to talk a little bit about John Carpenter. I had talked about Halloween before, and I love his films so much. And I have a 4K TV, a beautiful, gorgeous 4K television, and a lot of the 4K films get slapped on 4K, and they provide an initial boost that's better than Blu-ray, but it's only marginally better than Blu-ray, and my feeling is that isn't usually worth it. The original Halloween 4K is better than the Blu-ray, but it's not better by a lot. So don't feel you have to go right out and buy it. It usually can be found fairly inexpensively. However, John Carpenter's Christine, the work they did on that for the 4K is amazing. The colors are just incredibly beautiful. The bold reds when Christine herself is actually shining, or the dull reds when she's found in the junkyard initially, or when she's been, or the mixture when she's been beat up by the various antagonists. But I digress. Those are the only two U.S. releases for John Carpenter's films, and so they announced in Europe that they were releasing. Pardon me, that they were releasing Michael Myers to you. They announced they were releasing a series of John Carpenter films in 4K. And given that they're owned by all different kinds of studios over here in the United States, and that Scream Factory apparently has no interest in releasing 4K at this time, I had to import these. Please keep in mind, if you have a 4K player, some people apparently don't know there are no region restrictions on 4K players. There are region restrictions on Blu-ray players and on DVD players, but you can buy a 4K disc from anywhere. It will play just fine on your 4K machine. That said, of course, if it's in, if you buy an Italian 4K, you're going to have an Italian language film. So they announced these box sets, and I couldn't afford all of them because they're ridiculous. They were ridiculously priced at $50. But the Fog is one of my absolute favorites, and so I bought the box set of the Fog and patiently waited for it to arrive. And they have some nice new artwork on the cover, and it comes as you might expect with some art cards that are just okay to my mind. They didn't actually pick a lot of shots that were worthwhile. I mean, come on. They put this shot in black and white, and it's so stunning in color. In black and white, it loses everything from the shot that was needed. And they include. I mean, they went a long way out of their way so that you got your money's worth for the $50, and I certainly feel I did, because you got the art cards, you got a mini poster, there's a booklet. Anytime you pay a premium price, there should be a nice booklet. And then here's the actual set, which is a 4-disc set. They include the movie soundtrack on CD, a disc on Blu-ray that is just the extras, because as you know, if you have 4K discs, they always include the Blu-ray because they don't put extras on 4K discs. They save all the room for the picture. There's the 4K disc, the Blu-ray, the extras, and the soundtrack. And the soundtrack would be really nice, except that I already have John Carpenter's Anthology, which is a cheap pickup on Amazon for about $10-12. And it's all of John Carpenter's movie themes, and it's absolutely wonderful. Now for the problems. The Fog, the color grading on the Fog is actually terrible. I've not read anybody's review who's mentioned it. People mention the distracting artifacts, that they did not do a good job of 4K conversion for this. My problem is, and I know it's forever ago, but I saw this the day it came out in Miami. And I remember what it looked like, and I remember what it's looked like ever since. It does not look like the 4K disc. The 4K disc, they push the red way out of proportion to the other colors, and so you have sections of burnished wood that are the wrong color, and you can tell that they got the colors wrong because every scene where someone is in the background, not the foreground, they get the colors right for the faces in the foreground, but when someone's in the background, just take a look at it. They don't look right. They're all red and orange, and it messed up the colors. It's very, very disappointing release. Honestly, it was the additional resolution was nice, but honestly, I might watch Scream Factory's old Blu-ray release next time, or maybe I'll watch this Blu-ray release. Now, keep in mind, while the 4K release will play on any player, the Blu-rays here will not play on any player. That you have to have a region-free player to play them, and these are region 2. At the same time they released the Fog in 4K, they released They Live in 4K and Escape from New York in 4K, and all of those are box sets that are pretty much the exact same as this box set. I haven't purchased them because they're not. They Live is science fiction, Escape from New York is science fiction, and I'm trying to focus just on horror right now. Zavvi, though, had an exclusive, not a box set, but a steelbook of Prince of Darkness, which is one of my favorite John Carpenter films, just like The Fog is. And it's a nice steelbook. By comparison, this is Scream Factory's steelbook. their Blu-ray, both of which are very nice. They feature wonderful green. Inside here, you don't get a soundtrack. You don't get all the bonuses that were in the Fog set. You get a Blu-ray, a regular Blu-ray. You get a Blu-ray of the extra features, which are nice, and you get the 4K disc. The extras, I forgot to mention in the extras. The extras for the Fog feature an hour and a half, so basically a feature-length program just on the making of the Fog. And they have the same thing with Prince of Darkness on the Prince of Darkness extras. And I won't say those are worth $50, but those are certainly worth a lot, and they're a lot of fun, and there's an extra on the Fog about the films that John Carpenter almost made, but didn't, and that's a really nice extra. Now, the 4K on Prince of Darkness, is gorgeous. It's not distracting. Whatever problems they had with the Fog, they did not have with Prince of Darkness. This is a wonderful upgrade, and it's right up there with Christine as a showpiece to show people. I'd love to go watch it again tonight, but I don't have time. So I guess Viola, Hugsy, and I say good night. Please consider subscribing or liking or even commenting below. Thank you.